Early childhood education is the foundation and key to a quality life. I think someone once said that the first 5 years have so much bearing on the next 80. And that's why childcare deserves our full attention. One of 3 focus areas for Georgia First is the economy. And access to childcare is critical for Georgia families in a strong economy. We're also focused on growing Georgia's middle class. And so the need for Georgians to have affordable access to childcare is absolutely paramount.
Hello, my name is Rick Moore. I'm actually a small business owner, and it is very important for my employees to have affordable childcare so they can come to work. It's kind of critical a lot of times if their kids won't have a place to go for them to be able to show up to work for my business. And we've utilized places like churches that have childcare and a little bit cheaper ways to go. We've been looking all over the place for the cheapest childcare we can find to try to even help them out so they can get the childcare that they need. And it's just very important as a business owner, you need to know that your employees can come to work and not stuck at home watching their kids.
My name is Latoya, and I'm from Valdosta, Georgia. And access to affordable childcare is very important because it helps with taking care of not only the children, but it helps to take care of helping the family with other needs that they have that they may not be able to afford the childcare with.
We spoke to all of the organizations serving the early childhood education industry in Georgia. Facility directors, owners, parents, teachers, the Georgia regulatory agency serving this industry. And we also conducted a survey of Georgia voters and families from all across Georgia to understand the needs and the challenges that these stakeholders face day to day, everything from workforce issues to access and affordability.
I have the pleasure of working with military families, and I understand how important childcare is. Unfortunately, a lot of people do not have access to military childcare system, have an extremely hard time finding affordable, quality childcare. And I believe that we should do everything we can to make sure our kids get that foundation. All kids have access to affordable, quality childcare. So our future will be in great hands because they have that foundation they need in order to go forward.
A lot of people just quit their jobs because they have to take care of their children and all. I try to help with my great-grands, but my grandchildren, they work and going to school.
The top priority is finding ways to stabilize the childcare industry and the workforce. So we know that owners are having a hard time finding teachers. They're having a high rate of turnover with teachers. We also know that there's been short-term COVID funding that's been propping the industry up artificially. That funding ends in November 2023. So again, vitally important to find ways to stabilize the workforce and stabilize the industry. If there is a silver lining to COVID, and I'm not sure that there is, but if there is, it's that it highlighted challenges that already existed in this space. It's important that we find ways and make sure that all Georgia's communities have access to affordable and quality childcare. Georgians need to go to work, and if they don't have childcare, they can't go to work. And that affects our economy overall. Everyone's been asking what happened to the workforce after COVID. We've all been asking that question. Recently, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce conducted a study to better understand that gap in the labor force participation. We know the rate's currently 62.3%, but we also know from that study that there are a number of factors contributing to that decrease in labor force participation. We know early retirements and new business starts were a factor, but notably a lack of access to quality and affordable childcare was also a factor. Of the states surveyed, they experienced an estimated average $2.7 billion loss in their economies annually. We know too that women are participating in the labor force in the lowest levels we've seen since the 1970s, from 70% in 2020 down to 55% post-pandemic.
Affordable child care is very, very important, especially for single mothers who are out here striving to build a better career for themselves as well as a home for their children. However, they do cause a lot of complications and adversity because they are single mothers. And they often have to make a choice in between, caring for their children and not working. and most of them choose the latter. So it is very, very important for Georgia to stand up to provide affordable child care for individuals as such. I once have been in that situation myself where I have had to choose between work, school, and raising my child.
And the reason why affordable health care or child care is of great importance to me, my family, and to people like me is because we need the opportunity to go out and get a job and provide for our children without the worry or frustration of having our children not properly cared for.
Aside from the obvious economic impact, we think that there's a real opportunity to affect Georgia's literacy rate here. We're the 6th from the bottom in the country. We're the 8th largest state. We've been the #1 state in which to do business for 9 years running, but we are not leading the pack in literacy. And we can't maintain that #1 position if we continue to graduate a semi-literate or low-literate workforce.
Our childcare system is in crisis. COVID-19 shined a light on an already weak system. Parents struggle to find affordable quality childcare, while the childcare workforce is shrinking due to decades of low pay and lack of respect for the teachers educating our youngest learners. Now is the time to support our childcare system and stabilize the workforce. The childcare industry is headed for even bigger struggles in 2023. Childcare salaries have increased 40% over the past year. In addition, general operating expenses have increased 10%. With supplemental COVID funding ending, centers will be unable to continue paying these increased salaries and expenses.
I believe the child care system as a whole is very much lacking. Mainly, like I said, my wife has been in that industry pretty much her whole career. Now she has a associate's degree in child care development, and that industry is very lacking on quality individuals due to the fact of payment or what the employees would make. And I think that's just a very important stepping stone for children now. Like I said, I've seen it pretty much my whole adult life.
At the end of the day, we wanted to share real Georgia stories that make a compelling case for meaningful conversation around the need for statewide investment and a renewed focus on early childhood education and care for children from birth to age 5.
Affordable child care is important to me because early childhood education is very important, and child development and getting access to having trained teachers work with my children and our children in rural America is very crucial to their development. Please support any legislation that would enhance and put monies and dollars into allowing children access and families access.
This is Terry Barnes, and I just want to say that I think that the funding for helping people with child care is massively important in today's time, especially if you're a single parent, because if you've got 2 children and you're trying to work, you would be working to pay daycare because daycare is extremely expensive. And back when my kids were little, the help that I received through that program saved me and allowed me to be able to work and provide for my family at all times. So I think whatever y'all can do to increase it, make the program better, help more people, I am all for it. I think it's wonderful, and it should continue and never stop.
We all matter. The least of us matter. The smallest of us matter. Our children matter. Life is an evolutional process. You were once a child yourself, and if God's willing, you will be a healthy adult.
Georgia's children are our future, and we can invest in them now or we are destined to pay later. Help us make a difference for childcare in Georgia.